It was actually made in Cape Town, which is where Handspring are based, which is where a lot of the puppets were made. It's got a detachable head and some blood coming out of its mouth like that. I think it's one of the first ones that we put together when we unpacked all the crates just after Christmas when everything arrived in Bristol, and we were all just kind of blown away as to how simple but lion-like it is. And I think we knew that at that point there was a lot of good stuff to come. You know, we were going to start putting all the rest of them together and all the different components and things that had all been packaged up over Christmas and shipped to Bristol. They've got various little tricks to them. This one punches. These are little boxing gloves. And over to Jo for Cobweb.
This is Cobweb, so she's a bit of a flirt. Kissy, kissy. Kissy, kissy. Ah! So all the puppets were kind of made with different techniques. And actually her face is an old kind of Japanese traditional kind of mechanism that Handspring had to kind of research to work out how it was done, because the Japanese never revealed their secrets. So they had to it was never written down in books, so they watched videos and looked at kind of images of this kind of stuff to kind of work out how it was made, and then kind of re-engineered it in their factory in Cape Town. Oberon is basically represented by this big head, which is carved from a wood called gelaton. And his kind of fairy spirit exists within the head and this articulated hand. And this is another kind of Japanese puppetry method that Handspring basically kind of worked out how to create, and it's strung with kind of thread and beads. And so he kind of exists on stage between these two things, and he can kind of gesture and touch people. He can grab a head, or he can shake someone's hand, and he can kind of pick things up. Describes the processes up to the minute 17th century technology. So it's kind of really old methods that they use to kind of create all of their puppets. And he's got a little hole kind of on his nose from where we kind of put in a kind of metal rod so that the actors can practice kind of where the eye line is. So it's really important for them to kind of work out where he's seeing and who he's kind of looking at. So there was a kind of metal rod sticking out of his nose so they could kind of practice that, because most of the time they're behind the puppet, so it's kind of hard to work out where he's looking. So these puppets are kind of slightly different. They're not like any of the puppets that Handspring have made before. They're basically the same kind of principle as stop motion animation puppets, so they kind of hold their form on stage. So I can release Demetrius and I can pose him in a certain position and he'll keep his form. So he's got kind of rigid joints inside, like an animation puppet that kind of hold, but then I can still kind of manipulate him to talk and move live at the same time. And his legs kind of lock in such a way where he can walk, and then I can drop him. I can look around.
It takes a lot of practice to do that, I can't do it.
And then walk again. The eyes are a kind of signature sort of element of Handspring's work. They've got these little kind of beads inside that are kind of beveled, so they catch the light as I kind of move him around. And the horses have the same kind of eyes. So wherever they go on stage, they catch the kind of stage lights around, and it just kind of really brings them to life. And so even though these figures are really small, you can see a kind of sense of spirit and something going on in the eyes, even from the back of the auditorium. And there are 4 of these, so 1 puppet for each lover.